Hello, everyone. Welcome to this session on monitor and troubleshoot your network infrastructure with data-driven insights. This is Lakshmi Sharma, Director Product Management for Networking, with my colleague Irene Abezgauz, Product Manager, working on a lot of these products that you will hear about today. In this 20 minutes talk, we are going to discuss the common user journeys during migration, troubleshooting, and optimization of your network. We will also demonstrate how Network Intelligence Center, the product that provides you tools and capabilities to support these user journeys, is helping you by data insights and offering a platform that would be used in most effective ways throughout your user journeys of infrastructure, specifically networking, troubleshooting, migration, and optimization. Network Intelligence Center is a way of offering you AI ML powered NetOps acceleration platform. This is cloud AI ops in real working for your workloads onto GCP. Our goal is to become the simplest cloud to operate on through an intelligent self-driving network that extends beyond GCP to hybrid, to multi-cloud, to branches, to places and capabilities that you have built for operating into virtual and cloud journeys, and also integrating all the way to legacy infrastructure and services that you have built on-prem or any location here henceforth I mentioned, leveraging all the AI and the data insights that we continue to build for building GCP and making GCP the platform driven by intelligent insight and self-driving cloud. So, Network Intelligence Center is Google Cloud's way of delivering onto that vision of self driving network. It contains multiple modules to ensure you can deploy what you have intended to. Basically, it gives you tools for your deployment to be matched to your intent. It offers you troubleshooting any kind of performance and connectivity issues as you're migrating or as you're operating onto GCP with whichever location, whichever place, and whichever application you have been running currently or you have been building towards. It helps you optimize your network, including firewalls and other network services and infrastructure services that you will be using to deploy your workloads onto GCP. Networking is the foundation for all cloud deployments and business processes. We expect it to be up and performing well. Our customers expect it to be. They want networking to be seamless, regardless of the use case and the journey that they are working towards. User journeys throughout cloud, based on our experiences of customers migrating and working on GCP with us, specifically networking scenarios, there are three main categories: planning and migration, day to ops at scale, and optimization. So these are the three sets of categories and user journeys that we will be taking you through, and how different modules in Network Intelligence Center help you build and drive towards that. Here is what you need in each of those stages. Early stages, deployment is live. So when you're migrating your network or your workloads, while your deployment is live, what you want to make sure is that what you intended to, what kind of architecture you deployed for, is what you're getting when you have migrating or when you're migrating. And then you also, once you have matched your configuration and your intent and your topology, then when you want to make sure that your traffic is flowing as you intended to. So that's kind of number one in the early stages, user journey during planning and migration. The next step would be that yes, I have migrated. Yes, I have. It is intended configuration and traffic as intended, as expected to be. Now the second phase is that, is it production ready? Is it production live? So that's the time when you want to make sure that your network continues to stay healthy. You are able to identify and troubleshoot issues in advance, a priority, not at the time when the issue happens, but prior to when the issue has happened. Or in cases issue has happened, you being able to troubleshoot it and identify the root cause for each of those issues in operation or during production operations very fast, and be able to remediate as a next step. We also want to be able to optimize your deployment. You want to be able to optimize your deployments that you're running by having the control on performance and cost. First, you want to be making sure that your applications running with the performance and reliability, no matter what kind of optimization that you make, the configuration optimization, path optimization, and services optimization, maybe architecting it again. So we give you tools so that you can optimize it back. And then you can go back and check your intent again, your traffic paths again, and you're back to a very healthy operation cycle. So for all of these user journeys that we talked through, you need a lot of data to be available. You want your data to be continuously monitored for you. You want a control on where my data is, where my logs are, where my alerts are. You want all of that information across all your deployments across these stages. And you want that data monitoring and telemetry, everything to be available to you so that you start to make decision in a self-driving and self-sustainable manner without really any interactions, to be honest, like literally zero interaction with people on other side of the cloud. So for all of these data, how do we bring this data to you? Network Intelligence Center provides that visibility into working of this network, how the deployment actually looks, how and where the traffic flows, and if there are any problems and issues with configurations or the traffic or the routing, any kinds of paths or any anomalies or any suboptimalities that you see. So once we have all this information for you, the next step is for us to provide users the tools to make that data easily available and have the system intelligently and automatically address any existing issues, as well as surface the user the most important things, the most relevant insights. We do want to avoid the noise fatigue, and after all, the network is a business enabler. We want your focus to be on the most important and relevant information. It allows everything else to communicate. Network allows you to communicate with your users. Network allows you to communicate with your business processes and your business people. We want the network to auto resolve problems where they are relevant and to surface the user any issues that requires intervention. That is why we are working on enhancing AI ops capability across different services and capabilities that we have in networking to deliver the most important information to our users across all these journeys that you've heard in a timely and concise manner. So we want to be going from a place where you're planning, migrating, writing your architecture, you're making sure that your intent is right, then you're automating and optimizing towards for your performance and reliability and costing. Once you have delivered that cycle, once we want the AI ops to be working with you so that you are able to deliver and you want these capabilities to be delivered in a self-driving, self-intent manner to you. So day to ops capability, which you see in the middle, are what we are focusing in now. And you will see some capabilities in planning and migration state and day to ops case so that you are able to leverage our products and capabilities today while we bring you onto the journey of eventual optimization and self-driving capabilities.
Okay, thank you, Lakshmi. So basically, when we do listen to the users, they emphasize the following thing. We want the network to be up and running. It needs to be available and it needs to be performing. And we have a business to run. We don't need to deal with anything else. And essentially, it needs to be up and running. If it breaks, we want to know as soon as possible. Now, this needs to happen regardless of what's happening with our traffic. It can be spiky, it can be, in a nice way to say it, it can be dynamically changing. And in those conditions, we need to be able to monitor the network. And essentially, that's what the users have been saying, that the Network Intelligence Center have been giving them. And I think the best example or the best quote that I got from this from one of our users was, listen, we're used to aggressively monitoring everything on-prem. Now, you take our most precious workloads and you put it on this magical mystery black box, and we don't want to lose visibility. We cannot afford to lose visibility. And I really connected, that really resonated with me, maybe with the tiny exception of not wanting to bring SNMP to the cloud unless I really have to. But with the exception of that, I really believe in that. As much data as possible and as much visibility as possible. Now, let's jump right in and take a look at the modules of the Network Intelligence Center and how they're used in the user journeys that Lakshmi has described. The first place where users typically start is network topology. Basically, they come here when you've just migrated something or you've created something from scratch. Now there's a new thing, and you want to make sure that whatever it is that you've built, that it matches your intent. Are those the servers that I wanted to have? Are they communicating in the way that I expected? How is traffic following? How is it flowing? Are this relevant regions being served from relevant continents? Do I have any inter-region communication that I'm not supposed to have? Am I bypassing load balancers when I shouldn't be? All those things are basically things that you see in network topology, with the addition of being able to see performance metrics on the edges. Now, from here, if you're trying to get more information, there is actually a direct pivot from network topology into VPC flow logs. So if you're looking at a specific server at a specific edge and you want to get more Swiss knife kind of information, you can just go directly from here into VPC flow logs in the relevant context and see what's happening. Now, in network topology, you can see compute instances, load balancers, connections to on-prem cloud APIs. We are going to add GKE infrastructure support, and that's essentially topology typically used in migration or where something changes. Now, the next thing is the performance dashboard. This is where you end up when things are not going quite as expected. Usually, when you see there is a problem or you suspect a problem, you'll go here, and here you can actually see packet loss and latency metrics for traffic in your project. There is a combination here of synthetic traffic and sampling of actual user traffic of your machines. You will see here only zones, regions where you are deployed, and you can essentially see your own specific performance. Now, one thing that we have recently launched is the global performance dashboard. In many cases, when there is a problem and you get to the performance dashboards, the question you're going to ask yourself is, okay, something is not going as expected. I'm seeing high latency or I'm seeing high packet loss, any packet loss for that matter. Is the problem anywhere in my deployment, or is it a Google Cloud wide kind of problem? And having those two performance dashboards side by side basically lets you compare your project performance to the performance of all of Google. And then you can know whether there is a network outage or maybe there's just a few servers choking somewhere at 100% CPU, and that is the reason why they're not properly responding to requests. Any Google-wide outages are going to be very clearly visible on both dashboards. And obviously, when you pivot from per project to this one, you'll be able to see that where is the source of that problem. Now, as I said, we are going from relatively high level, okay, I just migrated. Please tell me in high level how everything looks because I'm trying to understand the connection between things. And from there, you can actually drill down to very specific metrics. As I said, it really actually depends on the type of user. Okay, some users, they're going to say, listen, just throw all the information you can. I'm going to derive all the insights myself. Just give me all the data. Possibly I'm just going to plug it into a third party system or I'm going to process, and I want to see raw data. And other types of users are just going to say, okay, please crunch everything for me and please only call me if it's super critical, super important, and you're absolutely sure that this requires my attention. Now, for the kind of users who want to see everything and want to get this visibility, they're in cloud monitoring. There are very specific product metrics. You can see, for example, for every VPN in every project, you can see the state of the VPN tunnel. Are there any issues? You can see whether the tunnel is up or not. Have there been any handshake problems? What's the throughput? For interconnects as well, you can see the status of the attachment. You can see the throughput. You can see the throughput over a period of time. Essentially, you can go from very kind of high level, this is your topology, to very, very specific details. And I think this is the goal of really providing something that we can proudly call data driven, right? Okay, here's all the data. and you can crunch it yourself, or we can crunch it for you and get to a point. No. Another, this is actually one of the favorite products by our users, saving a huge amount of support calls. And it goes like this: give me endpoint A, give me endpoint B. And this product checks whether the configuration allows connectivity between these two endpoints. This means essentially, if you're looking at VM to VM, node to master, VM to Cloud SQL, on-prem to Cloud SQL, is your configuration actually allowing this connectivity? And then if it's not allowing this connectivity, it basically this module is going to tell you there is a firewall rule blocking it, or you have a routing issue. Now, these look at configuration, and what we have just recently launched is dynamic connectivity tests, which for quite a few of these scenarios, they also look at what's actually happening on the data plane. Okay, so your configuration allows connectivity. Now let's take a deeper dive and look at the metrics. What is the latency between these two? What is the packet loss ratio, if any, between these two? You have the connectivity test to basically tell you whether any two endpoints are able to or should be able to per configuration and are actually able to connect and talk to each other, and how that connection looks like. Now, Network Intelligence Center has additional modules like Firewall Insights, for example, that's going to tell you whether you have unused firewall rules or any additional information. So there's quite a lot there that you can go and actually check out. In a In a quick recap, in this not very long presentation, we've talked about what we have seen to be the typical user journeys when users are migrating, when they're actually operating at very large scales, and when they're trying to do optimization. And now, since this is a recorded session, and I want to share with you some of the questions that we are usually being asked and the answer to these. Probably the most common question I get is, what about GKE? And the answer is that yes, essentially the performance dashboards show the performance for GKE workloads as well. We have GKE connectivity in connectivity tests. As I mentioned in topology, we are working on showing GKE infrastructure. That is a big part of the workloads that are running on Google Cloud, and that's definitely something to be covered. We're also looking at serverless, for example, not just GKE. Again, the same support. You have topology, you have connectivity tests, so there is quite a lot that you can learn. This is definitely not just for compute. Another super common question, especially by the larger organizations, is how does this fit into my existing processes? Because I am hybrid, because I'm multi-cloud, because I already set up a thing and I want to continue using that thing, which makes a lot of sense. So basically, we're looking at it from two aspects. One aspect is taking all the information in the Network Intelligence Center and making it available to be consumed programmatically. So you can grab it via API, you can plug it into your own systems, you can trigger any sort of response based on alerts, for example, that you've set, and so on and so on. The other one is that the combination of Network Intelligence Center and cloud monitoring basically allows you to see all your monitoring in a single place. Last question, as I see we're approaching time, is, can this be used for compliance? And that's actually one of the major goals of the Network Intelligence Center. You can see where traffic is flowing, or for PCI purposes, you can see where traffic is not flowing. You can get VPC flow logs, audit trail. You can get screenshots that you can then use in compliance reports. So there is actually quite a lot in mind in terms of compliance, and quite a lot that the Network Intelligence Center can deliver. This team is always available for any additional questions that you may have. There is also quite a lot happening in the next 21 networking sessions, and I do encourage you to go ahead and take a look. Thank you.